Hello guys, welcome to my channel. In this video, I'll be showing you how to solve these problems using the chain rule. But please subscribe, like and share the video to your friends. Thank you very much. Alright, let's get started. Alright, question 1. To solve this problem first, we have to set this as u. So, u is equals to x squared plus 1. And then take the derivative of u with respect to x. So this will become du dx is equals to 2x. Now, automatically, we now have y equals to tan u, because we have replaced the whole of this with u. So the equation automatically becomes y equals tan u. So if we take the derivative of y with respect to u, then this will become dy du is equals to the derivative of tan u is sec squared u. So now we can now apply the chain rule, which is dy dx equals to b dy du times du dx. Now dy du is this and du dx is this. So we simply need to bring them together. So dy du is sec squared u times du dx is 2x. Good. So this automatically is now 2x sec squared u. Now recall that we said let u be this. So u is equal to x squared plus 1. So let's return it back to this position. So automatically, this will be equals to 2x sec squared x squared plus 1. So this is the answer to this question, and I hope it makes some sense. All right, let's go to question 2. All right, to solve this problem, first we need to set this as u. So u is equals to the square root of 1 plus cos x. And this is also equals to 1 plus cos x to the power of 1/2. So now we are going to take the derivative of u with respect to x. So to do that, we simply need to differentiate. We simply need to differentiate this by switching this over to this side. Then subtract 1 from 1/2. So if we do that, then du dx would be equals to 1/2 1 plus cos x. So if we subtract 1 from this, Then we are going to have negative 1/2. So after this, you also need to multiply this by the derivative of cos x. So multiply by the derivative of cos x. So automatically, this will be equals to 1/2, 1 plus cos x, the power of negative 1/2, times the derivative of cos x, which is negative sine x. So finally, this would be negative sine x times this negative sign. We can remove the negative sign by simply writing this as a fraction. So if we do that, then this would automatically becomes 1 over these 2 can still be written here, and 1 plus cos x will now be raised to a positive 1/2, and negative sine x times this 1 will give us negative sine x over, we can keep this 2 here, and this 1/2 cannot be written as a square root. So let's bring it here. 1 plus cos x. So this is the derivative of u with respect to x. Okay, so now let's go back to the question. Now that we have found the derivative of u, then we can set the question as y equals to sine u, because we declare the whole of this as u, as you can see over here. So if we differentiate y with respect to u, then this will become the y du is equals to cos u. Now it's time for us to apply the chain rule, and that is dy dx is equals to dy du times du dx. Remember that dy du is this, and du dx is this. So we simply need to bring them together. So this will be equals to dy du is cos u, as you can see over there. So we have cos u times negative sine x over 2 square roots of 1 plus cos x. Remember that u is this, we said u should be this. So we can return that back here, and this will be equals to cos the square root of 1 plus cos x times negative sine x, let's put this in the brackets, over 2 root 1 plus cos x. So finally, the derivative will be equals to negative sine x, let's put this in the brackets, cos the square roots of 1 plus cos x over 2 root 1 plus cos x. So this is the answer to this question, and I hope it makes some sense. All right, let's go to question 3. All right, so to solve question 3, we have to set this as u. So u is equals to x cubed plus cosecant x. So now we can take the derivative of u with respect to x, and this will be equals to the derivative of x cubed is 3x squared, and the derivative of cosecant x is negative cosecant x cot x. So next we are going to write the question as y equals to the square root of u, because we have represented the whole of this as u. So y is equals to the square root of u, and we can also write the square root as power of 1/2. So if we take the derivative of y with respect to u, so this would be equals to 1/2 u to the power of negative 1/2. And because of this negative sign, we can write this as 1/2 times 1/u to the power of positive 1/2. I hope that makes some sense. So, which can also be written as 1/2 times 1/the square root of u. So this will be equals to 1/2 root u. Okay, so now let's apply the chain rule to this. So the y, the x is equals to the y du times du dx. Remember, the y du is simply this. So we can transfer that over here, which is 1 over 2 root u times du dx is over here. This is du dx, which is 3x squared minus cosecant x cot x. So let's transfer that over here. So we have 3x squared minus cosecant x cot x. Remember that we said u is equals to this. So we are going to replace u with x squared plus cosecant x cubed plus cosecant x. So let's bring it back here. So this will now be equals to 1 over 2 the square roots of x cubed plus cosecant x times 3x squared minus cosecant x cot x. So finally, this would be, if we use the whole of this to multiply 1, it's going to give us 3x squared minus cosecant x cot x over 2 the square root of x cubed plus cosecant x. So this is the answer to this question, and I hope it makes some sense. All right, let's go to the final question. All right, to solve this question, we also need to set this as u. So u is equals to 1 plus x to the 5th power cot x. So next we need to take the derivative of u with respect to x. So if you differentiate 1, that gives you 0 plus, if you differentiate this, we have two functions here. So if we differentiate, to differentiate these two functions, x to the 5th power and cot x, we are going to apply the product rule. So to do that, we need to write it like this: x to the 5th power times the derivative of cot x plus, you keep cot x times the derivative of x to the 5th power. All right, so now this will be equals to, so 0 is no more relevant. So if we take the derivative of cot x, that automatically is going to give us negative. So we have x to the 5th power here times negative cosec squared x plus, if we take the derivative of x to the 5th power, that's going to give us 5x to the 4th power times cot x. So now we can write this as negative x to the 5th power cosec squared x plus 5x to the 4th power cot x. So this is the derivative of u with respect to x. And since we have a negative sign at the beginning, we can rewrite this, bring in the positive parts first. X to the 4th power cot x minus x to the 5th power cosec squared x. So both of them are the same, but it's better we have the positive side first. All right, so let's keep this. Next, we have to set the question as y. So this will become y equals to y is equals to, because we said u is this, the whole of this is u. Okay, so that means in the original question, which is this, we need to take the whole of this as mu. So y is equals to u to the power of negative 8. So if we differentiate u with respect, if we differentiate y with respect to u, differentiate y with respect to u, this will become negative 8 u to the power of negative 9, because negative 8 minus 1 is negative 9. So to remove the negative sign from this, we can write this as negative 8 times 1 over u to the power of positive 9. And this is the same as negative 8. Negative 8 times 1 is negative 8 over u to the power of positive 9. So this is the derivative of y with respect to u. So now let's apply the chain rule. So the chain rule, we have the y, the x is equals to the y, the u times the u, the x. We already have the y, the u as negative 8 over u to the power of 9. So we can simply transfer that over here over u to the power of 9 times du, the x is also up here. The value of the u, the x is this. Okay, 5x to the 4th power. So 5x to the 4th power cot x minus 5 minus x to the 5th power, x to the 5th power cosec squared x. let's confirm that. Okay, that is correct, as you can see over here. All right, so if we multiply the numerator, we are going to have -8 in brackets 5x to the 4th power cot x minus x to the 5th power cosec squared x all over u to the 9th power. So the value of u was stated earlier on. U is 1. You can see the value of u here. 1 plus x to the 5th power cot x. So let's now bring it over here. -8. If we want to clear this, let's just distribute -8 into the bracket. So this would give us -40 x to the 4th power cot x plus 8x to the 5th power cosec squared x over, so the value of u is 1 plus x to the 5th power cot x. So we can now open a bracket. 1 plus x to the 5th power cot x close bracket to the power of 9. So this is the answer to this question, and I hope it makes some sense. So if you find this video useful, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, like the video, share the link with your friends, and also click on the notification bell. Thank you very much, and see you in our next video. Bye-bye.